My name is Chris. This is Zach. We are Dream EV, and we are in our electric-powered Vanagon.
Yeah, we finished installing our power steering motor. Now it's time to go test it out.
All right, let's go. Hopefully that's one of the last times you got to hear that beep.
Also, while we were out today, we are going to adjust the proportioning valve for the rear brakes, because we have not had an opportunity to do that since installing our big brake kit.
We had purposely installed the components in our van in the order that we did, so that we could test the van with and without power steering, with and without power brakes, and kind of get a feel for it, you know? Like, I wanted to know if this was really something that's like required for a car, or just really nice to have. She liked the van. One thing I noticed immediately about this electric power steering motor is that it seems noisy. It almost seems, it almost sounds like something in the spinning assembly is like scratching. And it might be that we have like a body panel rubbing up against something rotating, and it might be that the motor's just noisy. But here we are stopped. Can you hear this?
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
It almost sounds like there's fluid in the system, like it's sloshing around, like there's empty fluid, you know?
Before we get to where we're going to test this out, I'll explain the process. And this is straight off of Will Wood's website.
Process for
proportioning your brake valve. So, adjusting your brake proportioning valve. You go somewhere where you can have a little bit of space and not interrupt anybody. You accelerate to about 30 miles per hour, and then you slam on the brakes and lock them up. And you adjust the brake valve each time until all 4 tires lock up. And once all 4 tires lock up, then you back it off just a little bit until the rears no longer lock up. You want them to just about lock up, but not lock up. And that's when your brake proportioning valve is adjusted correctly.
So that'll be fun. Let me show you the road I found on the satellite, and then we'll see if it's a shady road or not.
Alright.
Well, here's our big empty road. We found this big empty road, and we're gonna do some stop tests on it. That'll be fun. Oh, shaky. We'll have to watch out for the potholes, though.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, so do you want more brake bias or less brake bias? Okay, so go do the loop. Let's see. All right, he's gonna go back and forth and do some skidding. Here we go, 35. I didn't even see, I was too busy looking at the camera. Did it do more or less? Don't kill me. Okay, you got another half turn.
I'd say it's worse.
It's worse, huh?
We gotta loosen it.
So what you're saying, Zach, is that the regen is too much braking force on the rear, and we don't need basically any hydraulic brake on the rear.
Yeah, so with the stopping force of regen and the braking force of the brakes, it's just too much. We can restrict as much pressure as the pressure reducing valve will allow, which that's what a pressure balancing valve is, and still lock up the rears. Fortunately, as soon as you lose a little bit of your momentum, the regen isn't quite as much, and they no longer lock up and they start spinning again. So it's a brief lockup. But under panic stop, you're gonna lock up those rears with regen on. Now, if we back the regen off a little bit, we could probably reach a balance where they don't lock up under panic stop, but we like a lot of regen to get the most range.
Yeah, one of the things we didn't really show you so much in the last episode is the fact that we upgraded our steering wheel. So we took the stock Volkswagen steering wheel, which was probably something like, 20 inches. And we went down to like a 18 inches. So it's not too much smaller, but it is definitely smaller. And it's made by Nardi, and it's leather wrapped, and it's got aluminum, and it looks really cool, and it's black.
It feels great.
Yeah.
And just that couple inches really makes a big difference.
Yeah. All right, Zach, on a scale of 1 to 10, how great is that steering wheel?
Oh, it's so good. It feels wonderful. Looks great. I love that it's a smaller diameter. You have, how much smaller is it? I don't even remember what we measured, but there's so much more room for your legs. Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah.
Maybe the quick thing is set for something different than when you, I don't know, turn it on.
Is there a screen? All right, let's go do some drive and answer some questions. We can either do that before or after the skid test, depending on how it edits, but whatever. Do you need upgraded rotors, Zach?
Most of these questions are going to be depends. For this van, yes. We added, well, we didn't add that much weight.
No, we didn't.
But the original stopping power, no. We didn't add much more weight, but we added a lot more power. And yes, we definitely needed to upgrade the brakes.
I would say that no. I would say no, we didn't need to upgrade the brakes. Does it make it better? Yes.
You think we could have got by with drum brakes back there and the original stock front brakes here?
I think we could have gotten away with that. But the issue with our rear brakes, which prompted the front brakes, was that we had no way to actuate the parking brake. So that caused us to upgrade the rotor in the rear that had an integrated parking plug. Assuming all that had been the same, I don't think we would have needed upgraded brakes. Because with regen in the mix, you get a lot more stopping.
Yeah.
Power brakes, Zach, is that needed? Would you say yes or no?
Power brakes are definitely needed.
I would say so, yes, absolutely. We needed power brakes. First revision, we didn't have power brakes. We wanted to see how it felt when you went driving. And boy, oh boy, was it like standing on a boat,
That's one of them old sayings that no one understands. And old people say it and you just shake your head and you're like, yeah man, standing on a boat.
Standing on a boat,
I hear you, buddy. Man, just like standing on a boat. Yeah, no, it was awful. Once the regen had already done most of the braking, you're still just standing on the pedal just to keep it still.
Yeah.
No, it was terrible.
Yeah, it was not good. So, power brakes, absolutely needed. Power steering, Zach, needed or not needed?
Not needed, but so nice.
Yes. Once you got going, it's like driving a normal car.
Avoid the massive potholes. Golly.
I really hope we can use any of this audio. Holy. I'm looking for things to grab.
speeds, you can really have to crank on it to turn the wheels. But it's not necessary, but it really is nice.
Yep. So I would say, as a general rule of thumb, if your car didn't have it to begin with, you probably don't need it.
That's a good rule of thumb.
Yeah.
I like it.
Okay, a big question that I had a couple times from different people is why didn't we go to the junkyard and grab a hydraulic power steering rack out of another Vanagon?
Well, where do you get the pressure for your hydraulics on a...
That's the thing.
Power steering rack?
We would have had to put a hydraulic pump in here. We could have gone in an electric rack. They do make those, but that would have involved retrofitting, right? And if we're going to retrofit, you know, we can either choose to do it in the cabin or we can do it underneath the vehicle, one or the other.
Yeah, this is a, I don't want to say tried and true, but several people have done this exact modification to different vehicles, not always Vanagons, and it works really well.
Yep.
And it allows for some future modifications as well that go along with that power steering motor.
Yep. Future modifications, meaning that it is CAN controlled, and we could take any arbitrary computer code and run it through and make that wheel turn left or right.
We're gonna make it a remote controlled Vanagon.
You know, actually, don't joke, man. I've been thinking about that.
I didn't hear it.
You know, the thing is, this thing's dead quiet when you're at a stop, and all the other cars around you are just loud. But once you get going, it's not that much quieter.
Well, that's because this is a old car. You still get wind noise, you know, there's not sound deadening and stuff like that. The doors are thin. In a more modern car, I bet it would be whisper quiet.
You think?
Well, and it doesn't vibrate. So internal combustion motor, a lot of what it's a whole sensory thing, and there's no like vibration because everything's so smooth too. Like sitting at a stoplight, you know, in my car, you know, you feel the vibration of the motor, and in this, nothing.
Yep. I'm actually quite surprised as how loud the things are in the vehicle. The brake booster and the power steering motor, right, are both incredibly loud compared to the ambient noise of the cabin. You know? I kind of figured that they would just kind of die down in the hum of the motor and the vibration of the vehicle, but no, they're audible is what they are.
And once again, it's because there's no other sound to drown them out.
Yep, that's exactly what it is.
I mean, you know, contactors make the same clicking noise in every car.
Yep.
But here you just hear that click because there's no other sound.
Somebody asked how loud this van actually is. So I'd like to get a decibel meter. Do you have an app store on your phone that we could download a decibel meter real quick?
I don't know. The ambient noise when we're just sitting here, everything's off, just the noise around us is around 40 decibels.
Yep. And when you're talking, I would say what?
It's around 70 decibels.
About 70.
So you want to drive around and see what we get?
Yep. The person who asked about noise was very specific in the reading they wanted. They wanted a cabin reading here and an engine reading back there at a couple different speeds.
Interesting.
So here we go. Let's do some noise testing. 70 decibels talking, 40 decibels stationary. And now that we're driving, $70 decibels.
So 70 decibels doing 35 miles an hour.
Yeah. Every once in a while we'll hit a bump, and that'll take it to like 75, 78 decibels. And me talking above the car is even peaking higher than that. So me talking is probably 85, 90 decibels. Yeah, at full tilt, we're at what? 74 decibels.
Let's do 50 and see what it's like.
Okay.
For the pavement, the louder it is.
Yep. I've seen about 79 decibels on the noisy road.
This window is open too.
Yeah. I mean, those cars passing right now are at 62 decibels. 78.
This is like 45. This is like 50.
Okay. 76 at most. I'm popping in the back seat since we're at a red light. All right, here's the setup in the back seat. We have one layer of carpet covering the engine hatch. Stationary back here. We're at 54 decibels when the ambulance is passing. I'm really not seeing any difference in noise back here. It's about equally loud.
I mean, I don't know why it would be any louder.
I don't know why it would be either.
Yeah, if this was a more aerodynamic car, more modern, you didn't hear as much wind noise, it'd be stone silent here. Stone silent.
That's something the old man would say.
Standing on a boat, stone silent.
You know, actually, I'd say it's a little bit quieter back here. Looking at this chart. Alright, I'm coming back. Stick your hand out. Get ready to grab this camera from me. Alright, I'm back. We did some science. Well, as much science as you can get out of a Galaxy S5. So we did some science, and in the back it seems like it's about 4 or 5 decibels quieter than up front, actually. So it seems as if the wind noise and the road noise and the ambient noise is louder than the motor in the back. So with this meter right there up the motor, it's the quietest thing in the van.
It's quieter than us.
Yeah. Up here, 4 or 5 decibels louder. That's because of all these windows, all the aerodynamic breakness up front.
All the non-aerodynamicness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is that? That's a Kia. That was a cool car.
Yeah, that, I think it's the EV6 is what it's called.
EV6, huh?
It's a good looking car. I like it anyway. Thing that makes noise, I guess.
All right. Another question that was asked on the internet. Can you plug this thing at Whole Foods? Well, if Whole Foods has a charger, then in theory, yeah.
You're making that up.
No,
Nobody asked that.
Yeah, I had somebody ask me if you can plug it in at Whole Foods. Just like I had somebody ask me if we can go over a speed bump. Do they really not have electric? Are they discriminating against my electric brotherhood?
I really thought there would be some here.
Somebody asked, can you plug in at Publix? And the answer is...
yes. Let's go get a Publix sub.
it's working. Charging. Well, that was a fun jaunt about town, wasn't it, Jack?
Yeah, it was good. We tested some steering, we adjusted some brakes.
We answered some questions.
Yeah.
So that was fun.
Stick around. In 2 weeks, our next episode, we are going to answer the big question.
Do you want to dip the cone or not?
How far does it go on a single charge?
So we're going to go to Dairy Queen, and then we're just going to keep on going past. And then when it stops, we'll have an answer for you. If you have any burning questions that we have yet to answer, post them down below and we'll be sure to do it in the next one.
So stay tuned and be good people.
I think we got it.
Probably.
Let's do it again, just in case.